Should we jump to ADR31 or anything else you want to go
Yeah,
over, Chad?
ADR31 um, is one around like is making just kind of getting or solidifying Rujira's relationship with the THORChain community, and just so that we are aligned, or what is the actual arrangement here? 'Cause I think it's like I think the contract kind of expires or something like this. 'Cause it's been a year or whatever the thing was. I forget the details. But it's there just to kind of solidify, because there's some individuals who are not big fans of Rujira or the app layer in general, which is, everybody's right, has the right to have their own opinion. But to formalize kind of what the relationship should look like or be, helps them know how to plan their roadmap going forward, and what is available to them, what is not available to them, and they can think more clearly about if there is a more direct relationship, in the sense that we're here for them, and they're there for us, in a sense. Then they can use a lot of their kind of advanced DeFi protocols or whatever to improve the quality of the base layer. You know, which we can get more details on that probably a little bit later on in the podcast, because that's relating. But yeah, I think it's just a kind of a way to solidify a relationship. I think like 20% of nodes have voted or something like this so far. All have voted option number one, which is, the one that I have also supported. So it seems like it's going in a one direction place. We just need to go for the official processing, make sure we get it to a 2/3 majority, which
Yeah.
I'll probably ping the nodes on Monday or something like this to remind them to, vote for ADR29 and ADR31, just to get those across the finish line.
Yeah. I can speak about this a bit, because I was the annoying guy last year with ADR20. So like, as part of me being annoying about it, they put in a like a one we like Rujira would get like a 1-year non-compete, which I think expired in May. And at the time, the way I was viewing App Layer was like, this should be permissionless, and everyone can come on THORChain and write smart contracts and go do stuff. And why give Rujira a monopoly on App Layer when we want a free market? We want everybody coming in, right? And and so that was the way I was approaching it back then. And the Rujira guys are like, well, no, we want this permission because we don't want a bunch of crap, a bunch of crappy smart contracts, a bunch of garbage code, and they don't want to fragment people's attention and fragment liquidity on all these different smart contracts and stuff. And I came around to that understanding, appreciating that view of making it permission and keeping it all in house and curating it all because of STO, because of our front end. Because I'm like we need our own front end to promote, right? And to try and get out there, and something that we can control and we can direct people to. And with the app layer, if we're going to have all these sophisticated products and we want to drive people to them, there has to be some quality control on them, right? And why do we want to send people to 5 different perps platforms? Let's just send them to one and just have that working really well. So I get it. That makes sense to me.
And by the way, it's more secure, right? Because if anybody can deploy a smart contract, a malicious person can deploy a smart contract. If there's some sort of bug in the code where you can do a thing you shouldn't be able to do. But if it's just Rujira, they're obviously highly aligned. They're not gonna rug the protocol. Like, I'd be surprised if that were to happen or whatever. But not that they even have the ability to do so if they wanted to. But if there was some sort of bug or exploit or something we didn't know about or whatever, then that would make it a much more severe situation. Versus if it's just a Rujira, then it's like, well, if there was one, then like we're kind of safe because we know they're highly aligned to the protocol.
Yeah. Like I'm happy with option one. Keep going forward as is, maintain status quo. But now this just takes me the opposite way. And like I think we have to merge. Like at some point we got to merge Rune and Ruji. Cause it's not just for like, within the community, people, bickering or whatever. For investors, when we get institutional investors come look at THORChain, they're going to want to break it all down. And having the Rigi token just makes it such a mess. to understand where the flow is going, where does value accrue, and it would just be so much cleaner without it. And again, I've spoken out against that in the past because I'm worried if we do it, the Regi holder is just going to dump on us, and it's just going to crash the room price. So and somebody's going to have to take. You're never ever going to do a perfectly even, like where both parties come out even. There's always somebody who gets a bit more or less out of the deal, right? And so I don't know how we're going to do it, how it would be structured, whatever. But I do feel like, if we do go down option one, I think at some point we kind of have to mentally accept at some point we're going to have to merge the tokens because I don't know how it's going to work keeping them separate.
Yeah, I don't know how to merge the tokens. I think that could be a creative solution to figure out. Like you effectively have to buy up all their tokens, right? And
Yeah.
they've got like a market cap of I think it's like 10 million or 15 million or somewhere in between those 2 points. And so like, all right, where are we going to get the 10 or 15 million required to basically buy up all the tokens, right? And that's like, well, we could do a ADR and mint a bunch of rune tokens, approximately, 10 to 15 million dollars worth of it. And then use that and, as a way for Rujira people to sell their tokens into this pool or whatever. And we just acquire all the tokens and now we acquire the team. It's a complicated thing, because then at that point, like the Ruggier team operates mostly on their own. But if we were to acquire them or whatever, then like I would take their team and I would manage that team probably, right, and help them build their roadmap. And but as of right now, they're pretty separate. They do their own thing for the most part, and so it would be hard to actually do that. I kind of feel the same thing about Maya. Like, really, the part of me there's a part of me that would wants to acquire Maya,
Yeah.
and the biggest reason to do that, in my opinion, is just the talent. Right, the people that have been running Maya for years are knowledgeable in the code base, and their skill sets and experience is actually quite valuable to the protocol. And I would just want to acquire. We already have the talent to some degree. They're already actively working on THORChain on the daily, but that's the thing of most value. But then it's just a question of like, oh, how do we actually even acquire Maya? Is the Maya community open to this idea? Does Alux think it's a terrible idea, or does he think it's wonderful? I have no idea, but it's hard to do this. Like to acquire a company in the traditional sense is actually, it's also hard and complicated, but it's relatively easier. And I just don't know what the process would look like to get the money required to acquire another protocol. And are we getting enough value? If we acquire Rujira for $10 million, let's say, hypothetically, are we, is it worth the money? What are we getting out of the deal, right? What's the long-term vision that we get? And that's a discussion we can have as a community.
Yeah. Yeah. We would definitely have to mint the rune to buy them out. I think that's,
Probably. You can't
yeah.
just,
Yeah.
you can't do it with the treasury. The treasury
Yeah.
is, it's a private fund. It's got limited funds. It doesn't have a token that it can infinitely mint when it wants to, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like it's got to live in the real world in a matter of speaking, and that's used to pay developers and ecosystem people and lots of different things. So we can't just be burning through that like it's nothing.
I just thought of
And
something.
Yeah.
If POL gets huge and big, in theory, we could use POL.
Yeah, you could, right? You could do like a LP withdrawal to a module and then use those funds to buy Rujira tokens.
And we'd be using, let's just keep it simple. So we have Bitcoin, say it's all from the Bitcoin pool. We'd be selling Bitcoin to buy the Ruji or Maya tokens. And the corresponding rune that's paired with it, we could just burn it. And that might, yeah. Well, if we're buying those tokens with Bitcoin, how are we converting them to rune? Or somehow we're using the rune that already exists in that pool. How would this?
Yeah, you'd probably have to withdraw, then use the funds to do something. Or you could technically you could give up on some of your like pool shares. Another way of doing it, transfer your pool shares.
I'll add a little bit to ADR31. By the way, guys, I've come to the decision that I definitely support option one, ADR31, just like Kenton and Chad. So I know this is a hot button topic. I'm sure people are listening to this, like the merge thing. So if you look at ADR31, Pragmatic Monkey wrote that up. And I would say Pragmatic Monkey's definitely on the higher like bell curve when it comes to IQ. And he's one of very few people that really understand the intricate design between app layer and base layer. And he spent a lot of time running up ADR31, right? Enormous amounts of effort. He did a good job. But even after spending all that time and just how smart this guy is, there are people like Hippocampus and others like, well, wait a minute, what about the POL? Maybe we should do this or that. There are things that Pragmatic Monkey did not consider despite using enormous amounts of energy to write ADR31. And this is not a dig on Pragmatic Monkey at all. It just shows you how complicated this is to have a two-token relationship, and you have essentially an ecosystem share and you have a revenue share. This is wildly complicated to do, right? And because of that, in my opinion, there's always a first principle issue having this. Like, it's fine now because what we're building, I think, is unique. I don't think there's anything in the world that does what we do. But I think just imagine the power if we took these two amazing communities, which I consider the same community. There's people I absolutely love now, like Jambone and, Little Monkey and Catman and Pragmatic Monkey and Hans, and even Only Hans, and even Baneth, the freaking troll. I love these guys. I think they're great. If you were to merge these communities, how unbelievably powerful that'd be, and how much simpler. All that complexity goes away. All of that weighing between two ecosystems goes away, and we can also rally behind one ecosystem, one token, and just go to the moon. Because we've said this so many times. The code is not what makes a protocol successful. It's the community. And just imagine the mind share and the network effects of everyone coming together to push, app layer primitives and base layer stuff. It would just be unbelievable. It'd be unbelievably powerful. So yes, ADR31 option 1, I am totally for, but this is something worth thinking about. And my personal opinion, I don't mind giving Rujira a slight premium in value if it was a merge, or maybe this POL idea, Kenton, you're talking about, maybe there's something there. Or I'd love to chat if you said, I can't remember. But that's why I feel so strongly about the merge. That's your idea. I'm sorry, Kenton. I'm sorry, brother.
Chad has enough of his own. I gotta get one every now.
So that's okay. I'll take your idea. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take credit.
Yeah. But that's why I feel so strong about this. And for me, like, I want app layer people listening. I understand, like, right now there's an ADR vote going on, and like, I can just imagine being a developer, like Pragmatic Monkey or anyone. Like, there's ambiguity there. What's going to happen? Are they going to vote in my favor? How do I make a roadmap? Like, there is tension there. There's stress there, and I don't like that. And so
me neither.
And when ADR31 gets passed, at some point again, we're going to have a similar conversation in the future, and then this same stress comes again, right? But I'm hoping to reach both communities. Let's think of a way, longer term, medium term, we can come together and solidify this incredible community that we have built collect, because what we're destined to do together is truly revolutionary. Believe it, guys. So I'll stop there. I've been talking enough.
No, that's great, Matt. I completely agree with you about communities, us working together. That's why I always thought THORChain should merge with Maya as well. Like, we should be working together on the same problem, the same thing, right? And I think when you do have, that is a scenario, you get 1 + 1 = 3. When you have people, common goals, shared beliefs, working on the same thing together, you do get, I think it is it's not a linear growth, right? It's exponential. So I totally agree with you, Denny. Like, if we're all working on the same thing, we go a lot further.
There's so many smart people, you guys, like Jambone. Little Bunny tests every primitive on the app layer. I want this guy to test things on STO. I want Jambone to use his skills in other ways too. Like, the value add here is exponential. Exponential. One thing I am completely against is divorce. Under no I am violently against that. This is unbelievable, the power. And I know it's tense at times, guys, but just, we gotta stick together. I truly believe we're meant to do this. So let's fucking do it.
I mean, and forgive me, I'm a bit behind on some. No one's talking about ending app layer.
Well, no, it's a minority opinion right now.
It's one of the options on the list.
It's an option.
Yes.
Option 3 or something.
Minority opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody's actually really, even the most staunch, anti-Ruji individuals that I can think of, I haven't heard them say that they should go away or get divorced. Actually, no, I've heard one person say that. Actually, I've heard one person. I'm
Okay.
not going to say who, but
Yeah, I mean, there's
it's a minority opinion for sure.
like to me, like I don't know, like to me, the main in my mind, the only real risk with Rujira is just does their token accrue more value than Rune, and we just don't know if that's going to happen until we get moving with
It would
things.
be we've
And
never seen that in any blockchain history, right? Like when you have a token like an ERC20, for example, does it accrue more than Ethereum?
yeah,
The answer is no.
yeah,
So and maybe this will be the first. Like I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball.
nah,
Who knows? But like, I think part of the reason why we had a app layer be separate because you could do the things that they're doing on the app layer without the app layer. They could do it directly into the Go code rather than using this COSM, WASM, Rust, stuff. So they have their own dev cycle that's outside of Thornode's dev cycle, and to merge it into Thornode's dev cycle would be actually kind of a bad thing because uh, we move a lot slower on the Thornode code, because it's a bigger, larger, older code base that needs to move slower. Like Bitcoin moves very slow as from a development perspective. You kind of have to, right? And so by keeping on the app layer, like on a COSM WASM thing, you're keeping it separate and they're not tied up with our release cycles and whatnot. But it was also the part of the point was to separate it from the Rune asset because we didn't want to do, because of THORFi issues and all this stuff, the Rune token got hit, fairly hard because of some, bad debt, right? That happened. And by having it Ruji be a separate, token, if something happens, it happens to Ruji and it doesn't happen to Rune. And we have that the isolation is what I think we wanted in the initial design or initial concepts of what we wanted within the context of an app layer is to keep them separate so that people don't feel Rune is getting risky. Rune is the base layer. It's rock fucking solid. It's not doing anything crazy in terms of lending this and it's just a straight up, AMM, right? This kind of thing. And it's not nothing doing, anything risky whatsoever. It's very kind of a solid base, which is what you want for layer one in general. You want Ethereum to be, rock solid, right? And then you have this other layer where they're actually experimenting with, advanced DeFi protocols like Bitcoin-backed stable coins and perpetuals and limit orders and who knows what else, right? Lots of NFTs, maybe it could be anything really, right? So there's arguments there that having a separate token is actually very valuable because it separates the risk that they're doing on their side on the advanced DeFi protocols. It isolates it from the base protocol.
nice. Yeah, I don't see much risk in moving forward as is. Um,
Yeah, I just want to.
Option one to me seems a fairly
Yeah.
obvious choice, to my opinion. But
yeah,
and there's nobody. I haven't seen any node votes come in yet that is anything other than one. So
Yeah.
it seems like the nodes have, for the ones that have voted so far, it seems like that's the case.
I'm really excited for ADR31 for sure.